When I say this is my second coffee, what I really mean is, I guess it's like my sixth coffee, because each one of my mocha pots, I guess, is like 2, maybe 3 espressos. So yeah, no wonder I get jittery after 2 coffees. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video from my narrowboat. If you're new here, my name is Laura and I bring you videos about slow living, the teachings of paganism, cooking with intention, the benefits of rituals, not habits, and how to weave the principles of witchcraft and paganism and folklore into a modern world. Today I want to show you how to embrace spring like a witch. Spring is by no means a difficult time of year. It's a time when hope and renewal and balance is coming back into the fray. But I do think that we often expect ourselves to wake up on the 1st of March or on the spring equinox and just be ready to go and full of energy and spark again. But spring is all about balance and transition. It doesn't happen overnight. I mean, particularly if you live in the UK, you will know that the weather reflects this. We get about 4 false springs a year. I'd say we've had 1 already, so we've still got a few to go. And this is a lesson that you really learn when you live on a boat. You become so entwined with nature and with the seasons. I don't think I ever checked my weather app unless I was going somewhere and I needed to know if I needed an umbrella. But I never used to check the weather app, and now I'm on it every single day. My life kind of revolves around what the temperature is doing outside, what the weather's doing outside. But I actually think that has really helped me with things like mindfulness. So even if you do live in a house, you can really benefit from being in tune with what's happening outside. Spring is a slow shift from darkness to light, from stillness to movement, from dreaming to doing. Nature doesn't just bloom overnight, and nor do we. Spring is not about rushing into action. It's about moving with the season rather than against it. Each bud on the tree takes time to flower. I think every single year around this time, I'm expecting all of the trees to be full of green, for it to be warm enough for me to turn the fire off, and that's just not going to happen. Spring can still be very cold, it can still be very wet, very windy, and the trees remain bare until, you know, like May, which is essentially summer. Don't get me wrong, there are amazing things about spring. It's one of my favourite times of the year, but I think we expect to be home and dry the second that March hits, and that's just not the case. So here are 11 ways to embrace spring, to make the most of this time of year, and to ease into this transition rather than rushing forward. Spring cleaning isn't just about dusting and refreshing the space and making things all spick and span. It's about renewal. It's about clearing your space for new energy. One thing that I like to do is to spring clean in parts rather than doing it all in one go, which number 1 is pretty exhausting, and number 2, if you're anything like me, you are extremely prone to distraction. As soon as I start clearing things out, I'm finding books that I haven't seen for ages. I'm picking up projects that I've abandoned halfway through, and before you know it, the day is gone and I've just been reading old journals, old diaries, sifting through old photographs, and then you feel like you've wasted a day of cleaning by just looking at stuff. But taking stock of those old memories and going through old bits and bobs and maybe papers that you'd forgotten about or projects that you meant to pick back up, that's important. That is part of the cleaning process. It's part of the clearing and renewal. What I like to do is set aside an hour or 2 every day over the course of a week or 2 and do it in chunks, do it in parts. You might only clean one cupboard one day, you might do your entire bedroom one day, you might go through your clothes, clear out everything that you want to get rid of. So this week I'm going to be setting aside 2 to 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. if I get distracted, which I definitely will, every single day to go through my bits, to clean out the cupboards, to clean under the sofa, get rid of some clothes, go through my makeup and self-care, and get rid of everything that I don't need. When you are in a small space like this, I live in a very, very small space. It's like 7 foot wide, 48 foot long, but even a lot of that is outdoor space. You can't afford to hoard stuff, and every item that you get rid of is just making space, not just physical space, but space in your brain. I suggest creating focus for these intentional sessions by cleansing the space, maybe burning some incense, burning some rosemary, putting on your favorite music or something gentle and meditative, listening to a podcast that you really want to listen to if cleaning is not your thing and you have to sort of Trick yourself into doing it. Perhaps create a moon mist with a simmer pot using things like lavender for calming, chamomile for balance, and rosemary for protection. Clearing the energy with things like smoke and sound. You might wish to ring a bell in every corner of your rooms. Maybe create a magical floor wash with the simmer pot. If you don't have a bell, you can even just clap your hands in each corner, and this is supposed to get rid of negative energy, drive away evil. And you might feel silly while you do it, but it's just all about focusing that intention. It's a way of not just physically refreshing your space, but mentally refreshing your space as well. Open the windows, let all of winter's energy clear out and make way for spring air. Start tidying away all of those winter clothes and get out your summer garb. This is something that I really actually have to do because there is no space for me to have both sides of my wardrobe out at once. So there usually comes a time when my coat gets packed away, all of my winter jumpers get packed away, and all of the summer stuff comes out. And then what happens is that we get the second winter, and I've done that during false spring, and then I'm cold again and I have to get my coat back out again. So outdoors, it may still be looking quite bare, it may still be looking quite grey when the sun isn't out. The leaves are just budding, but they're not quite verdant just yet. There's really not much going on in the way of flowers and foliage, apart from the snowdrops and the crocuses. But to remind yourself that summer is coming and that those spring vibes are coming, I suggest bringing the outside in. Even if that's buying flowers from the supermarket, you don't have to go out and pick them. But just having these reminders of nature all around us helps start setting your mind into that spring mentality. Budding branches, a herb garden, or small potted plants in your home helps align your space with that energy. These daily reminders tell us that life is returning. I would much rather enjoy the full beauty of the flowers for one day than to have them sit on the counter and watch them die for a few days. These tulips especially were absolutely on their last legs. You can see the flowers are like wilting a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy wearing them today instead of just having them out going soft and sad. After a season of heavy, cozy, grounding foods, it is time to embrace the light and vibrant nourishment. Stock your fruit bowl with colourful produce, add fresh herbs to your meals, and embrace seasonal greens like spinach, asparagus, and radishes. I believe that food is a form of witchcraft. Eating seasonally helps you align your body and your mind with what's happening outdoors. And there are so many benefits to getting your body in line with nature's rhythm. Create your own spring tea mixes like chamomile, mint, and lemon balm. Stir your tea clockwise to bring in fresh intentions. And drink it outside if possible, soaking in the returning sunlight. One of the most magical ways to connect with spring is by foraging. One thing that you must do is make sure that you're absolutely confident of your identification of a plant. There isn't much out in the hedgerows right now, but you will find wild garlic, nettles, and possibly some three-cornered leek too. There are other plants that look like these plants that are not edible. For instance, you could mistake three-cornered leek for daffodil stems. There's lots of poisonous leaves that look like wild garlic. But one of the best ways to identify both of these is simply through the smell. Break the leaves open, give them a sniff. Wild garlic is incredibly pungent. But it used to be called bear garlic because it was one of the first things that bears would munch on when they woke up from hibernation. And this is a great example of why eating seasonally and in nature's rhythm can be really beneficial. I actually think that the taste of wild garlic, the smell of wild garlic, kind of wakes your spirit up from its winter slumber. There's something in the DNA, there's something deep down inside that tells you when you eat it, when you smell it, even when you see it, there is something inside you that says, It is springtime, let's go, it's time to be energized. It's like an instinct. It is the same theory as to why hospital admissions happen more during the full moon. It's not so much about the gravity of the moon. The gravity of the moon doesn't change the whole way through the cycle, but it's to do with the light. Humans were always more active at night during a full moon because we had the light available to us to use. And so there's something about that deep ancestral instinct that tells us it's a full moon, let's be active at night, or it's wild garlic time, it is spring, wake up. So winter was all about thinking and stillness and consideration for what you want to achieve this year. Spring is about setting those dreams into motion. Spring is about gentle, intentional action. Whether that's planning to plant a garden, creative projects or personal goals, use this time to get your calendar in order. The spring equinox is all about balance. And I think spring in general is all about balance. So doing things like planning, setting your intentions for the next few months, and taking gentle steps towards action is what spring is all about. So after the big spring clean, the spring clear out, it is time to set your home into spring mode. Pretty soon I will be letting the fire go out completely and won't be relighting it again until winter. This is a time when I start building an altar on the stove instead of having it loosely all about. I don't really have an altar throughout the winter months because I just don't have the space for it. But throughout spring and summer, it is the perfect place for me to create something as a daily reminder of my intentions, my goals, mindfulness, and it just looks nice. That's the main purpose of an altar for me. It's just a really nice mantle where I can put my bits and bobs that I've picked up on walks, where I can put crystals that are aligned with the goals that I have for that week, that month. It's just a focal point of my living space. Now is time to start or finish small projects that bring new life into your space. Maybe rearrange your furniture. I wish I could rearrange my furniture. That's something I used to do when I lived in a house all the time. It completely refreshes your living space, moving your bed from one side to the other, changing up the whole energy of a room by moving a chair. But unfortunately, in the boat, all of my furniture is sort of fixed. So I really can't do that. I have to make do by painting walls. I'm starting big colourful projects all over the boat that I then don't finish. But if you live in a house, this is a really great way to bring new energy into your home. In witchcraft, our surroundings affect our energy, so make sure your space feels vibrant and aligned with the season ahead. And if you don't keep an altar, or like me, you don't really have space for one, you can do things like a simple window display, just having a few crystals in a cupboard or even in your fridge, somewhere that you look every single day, putting your fruit and veg in the fridge into glass jars, basically creating aesthetic vibes. Really adds a little bit of ritual to your day, adds a bit of ceremony to the way that you live, and it might seem frivolous, but I find it really beneficial. Like I say, the spring equinox is all about the perfect balance between light and dark. So take time to reflect on where your life needs more balance. This could be the relationship between yourself and your work, yourself and your rest, giving versus receiving, action versus stillness. A simple ritual like lighting a candle at dusk and meditating on balance can help you move into spring with intention and rebalance the areas of your life that need some more sync. Spring is a time of renewal. Make it a great moment to set or refresh intentions. If you did the lemon with me back in February, you can take those envelopes, light a candle near them, and meditate on the intentions that you've set. Your lemon should be almost ready by now, so pretty soon I'll have some recipes for you to use it. Just as the days are getting longer, your body is going to want to start moving again. If, like me, you have been terrible in terms of movement and action throughout winter, I mean, truly, my steps have never been worse than they have this year. I think I took winter rest a little bit too far. And because the years previous, I had spent a bit of winter in Spain and in Bali. This time last year, I was in the Philippines, I was in Thailand, having an amazing time. and doing so much walking, particularly last January, which I spent about 2 weeks in Andalusia. I walked so much. My average steps by mid-Jan were about 20k, just because I was walking so much when I was in Spain. But this year, I don't even want to tell you what my steps are. I don't even want to look what they are. That it'll be bad. So that's where I need to rebalance. That's going to be my focus. But don't rush into high energy activities. Think slow, intentional movement like stretching, walking in nature, or gentle yoga. My favourite way to exercise is just dancing. Now, there's not much space in the boat, so I don't really get to dance on the boat very much. What I will do, and I am not going to show you any footage of this, I wish I could illustrate it with footage, but it's too embarrassing. I will go on my walks out into the middle of nature, out to the lakes, out to the forest, where no one is around, and I will just put music on in my headphones and just go mad and just have a dance. It's like my own private silent disco in nature. And yes, I have been caught before. At the moment, I am just fixing my bike, or finishing off fixing it, because I had someone else fix it for me because I'm not good at practical things. But I can't wait to start riding my bike again. It's kind of gone out of commission over winter because, like I say, I've been very inactive throughout winter. But now is time for me to start riding my bike again, walking a lot more, and doing silly little dances out in nature. One of my goals this summer is to start swimming outdoors again, and hopefully to keep it up through autumn, maybe even winter if I'm brave enough, and to get out early again and do yoga by the lake. Now that I don't have to light the fire at 6, 7, 8 in the morning to make sure that it's toasty enough by like 9 or 10, I have the option to get up and get out early doors. As this balance of light and dark shifts, you can kind of carry your winter teachings through into spring. So for example, I usually in winter get up with sunrise because, you know, it doesn't happen until about 8 o'clock. But as the clocks spring forward, I'm going to keep my routine of getting up at what was 7 or 8 in the morning. So that way I have a couple of hours before I start my working day where I can get out, maybe do some gentle yoga by the lakes or a bike ride. My favourite thing in late spring, early summer is to get out really early and enjoy that morning sun. I used to jog along the canals, believe it or not. I think my jogging career's over. I don't think I'm going to be jogging. I just don't like it. I like getting the exercise done early doors and having a spurt of energy, but I don't think it's good for my knees, and I really have to persuade myself to do it. And I think if you're having to battle with yourself every day to do something, it's probably not the thing for you, and you should find something that you actually enjoy. So depending on the setup in which you live, you might have a huge garden, plant fruits and vegetables and a herb garden, or like me, you might have very limited space. But you don't even have to plant something for you. You could just go out and plant seeds in the wild. This is a way of metaphorically giving back to nature, and is such a powerful spring practice. The act of physically planting seeds and watching something grow helps us plant those seeds of action and watch our goals grow. Herbs, flowers, or even houseplants can be a way to connect with Earth's fertility. I really recommend growing something from seed to plant. I've got a nice little herb garden in the window on the go. I didn't grow any of that from seed, but this year I am going to try and have a roof garden and grow some plants from little seedlings. Planting wildflowers in neglected patches of earth or starting a veggie garden is a way to directly connect with spring's energy. And even if you have very limited space and no room for even a windowsill, you can grow something in a jar of water. Watching something change every single day is a reminder of how quickly you can change yourself. I haven't done this yet, so I can't show you a spring feast with any footage because it hasn't happened just yet. But I'm intending to gather all of my friends on the boat and cook a really nice big feast featuring seasonal foods, fresh greens, wild garlic, bread, early spring vegetables, and just share with friends and celebrate the turning of the wheel. If, like me, you have spent much of winter in solitude, not for any other reason than I just wanted to embrace my space a little bit more, get a lot of work done. It might be a while since you've all come together to celebrate something, and I like any excuse to get together with friends, eat, drink and be merry. So that's my 11 practices for embracing spring like a witch and making the most of this time of year. Hopefully this has taught you some practical ways to embrace that balance and gentle awakening. Remember, of course, that this time of year is a slow transition from winter's rest to spring's renewal. Being connected to the season's rhythms is about going at your own pace, not rushing, not listening to the outside world, and finding ways that feel mindful and intentional for you. I hope you found this video useful in some way. If you have, I would absolutely love it if you shared it with your communities. And thank you so much for watching one of my videos. I really appreciate you being here, whether you like, share, subscribe, all of that business. It's just nice to have you here. So thank you again, and happy spring.